Growing up as a disabled person in Chinese culture, I learned from an early age what it meant to save face and the lengths my mom would go to do so. At the time, I didn't understand her stubbornness and why she did what she did. I was born healthy, but around 2 years old, I became weak and would constantly lose my balance and fall. My parents took me to see many doctors, both American and Chinese, but none of them could figure out what was wrong or provide a cure. It wasn't until around 4 years old that a rheumatologist finally diagnosed me with dermatomyositis, an autoimmune disorder where your immune system mistakenly attacks your body, causing muscle weakness and skin inflammation. When I started elementary school, I fell down a lot from the progressive weakness and for being accidentally knocked over by the other kids. The school suggested that I start wearing a helmet to protect my head. Mom, being the matriarch of the family and very traditional Chinese and wanting to save face, rejected that idea. She thought it'd be ugly and too hot for me to wear. Both true to some extent. It was the few times I agreed with her, even though the school would tell her to encourage me to wear it at all times. The therapist tried to entice me by having me decorate my helmet with colorful stickers and glitter. Pretend it's a beautiful crown and that you're a princess. The crown will keep you protected. It was humiliating, and the other kids teased me relentlessly. Hey, football head. Hey, helmet head. Why are you wearing a helmet? What's wrong with you? You look like a freak. By the time I got to junior high, it became too dangerous and hard for me to try to walk on my own. Shelly, the school PT, suggested I get a power wheelchair. Mom, wanting to keep face again, flat out refused. We couldn't really afford one anyways, and she used it as the main excuse. I mean, she didn't like the idea of having to wear a helmet, but now having her daughter use a wheelchair? Might as well hang a neon sign on me advertising, "Look here, my disabled daughter." Thankfully, Shelly understood and knew it was important that I was able to move around independently, even if it was just at school. Someone donated their old power wheelchair to the department, so she let me use it during school hours until she had helped me get my own. It was held together by duct tape and only had one speed setting, snail's pace, but being able to move about on my own without fear of falling felt liberating. Unfortunately, it only worked for a few months before it gave out completely. It would be another year struggling before Shelly was able to get me the power wheelchair I needed through MDA. Mom appreciated her help, but at the same time, inside, she hated the fact that we had to accept outside help and saw it as charity. I was so excited when the day of my long-awaited power wheelchair was finally being delivered. Mom worked as a live-in housekeeper at the time, and her employer allowed me to stay with her because of my disability and needing her care. They lived in a luxury condo overlooking Central Park. When the vendor, Teddy, also Chinese, arrived at the building to deliver the wheelchair, the doorman told him he had to go around back to the service entrance, where all deliveries took place as a building rule. Teddy became indignant and felt insulted. He misheard the doorman as well, thinking he said the servants' entrance instead. Not wanting to lose face, Teddy refused and left with the wheelchair. Mom had to call and apologize profusely for the misunderstanding. She promised that for the next and future deliveries, she would escort him to use the front entrance. When I turned 18, my brother wanted to apply for SSI for me. Mom was strongly against that too. From my bedroom, I could hear them have heated arguments over me in the kitchen. I hated myself and cried. Mom, being self-reliant and not wanting to lose face, feared what others would think if her daughter received government aid. She refused to ask for a handout. It was many fights later that my brother finally wore her down and she reluctantly gave in. Even to this day, there are still instances of others having to save face at my expense. Like at some family weddings, the mother of the bride or groom will come up to me when it's picture time and whisper in my ear, "You don't mind leaving your wheelchair on the side and go stand next to them, right? It's only for a second. Your mom or I could help you there. It's only a few steps." The wheelchair ruins the picture. It won't look good. To save face and keep things civil, I just respond with a tight smile and do as they ask, even though I should be offended and refuse. All this resulted in a lot of unforeseen trauma and internalized ableism when I became an adult. But through the help of journaling and eventually writing a memoir, I was able to come to terms with some of them and help me to better understand why my mom and others of her generation said and did what they did in order to save face. It was just the way they were brought up and how the culture was in China.